It's a pleasure to be back in front of you with a new video. And what I'm going to be talking about today is very interesting, something that's coming up later this week, and some of you may have already heard about it. It's a debate that's coming up. Very interesting one. And no, I'm not talking about the presidential debate. I am talking about the scheduled debate between Governor Gavin Newsom and Governor Ron DeSantis. And what's very interesting is that the debate will be moderated by who do you know? Sean Hannity. Sean Hannity of Fox News. He's going to be moderating a debate between Governor Gavin Newsom and Governor Ron DeSantis. Now, you may be wondering why these two individuals. Governor Ron DeSantis is still not the nominee from the Republican side for the presidential election. Donald Trump is still leading, and then Nikki Haley is doing very well, and she got a very big endorsement this week. And Ron DeSantis, Governor DeSantis, is still in the race, but he's not the front runner. He's not the Republican Party nominee. So why is he participating in this very interesting debate? And why is he debating Governor Gavin Newsom, who is not an incumbent president? He's not the nominee from the Democratic side. So very unusual. But then again, I think it'll be interesting because these two governors represent very, very different political ideologies. Governor Gavin Newsom obviously represents a very big state, the beautiful state of California, and it's a blue state. Why do we call it a blue state? Because California is a predominantly liberal state. On the other hand, Florida is really a wonderful, shining example of a red state. And Governor Ron DeSantis is the governor of Florida. So you've got two very beautiful states, one on the East Coast, one on the West Coast, and both lovely places, no doubt. Beautiful weather, sandy beaches. I'm not going to be describing all the different natural features of these two states, but I think you understand what I'm talking about. If you want to go on a vacation, where do you go? Do you go to Florida? Do you go to California? Both are very beautiful. But obviously, the states, as I said, one is red, one is blue. And so I think it's going to be very interesting to see the governor of a massive red state and the governor of a massive blue state debate each other, and the debate being moderated by Sean Hannity. So it's obviously going to draw a lot of attention. I don't know how many people will tune in to watch the debate. I bet there will be many viewers. And, I will also try to watch this debate. And so, in short, the way I see this, it's going to be a debate of two different political ideologies, two different sides. Now, Governor Gavin Newsom is a big government liberal. And what do I mean by that? His side represents policies that would increase the footprint of the government in the lives of people. So he's a big government liberal, and big government liberals are politicians who believe in growing the size of the government bureaucracy, growing the size of the powers that government agencies have. And when you look at a policy problem, if the answer is to increase more government involvement, to grow the size of government, to solve an issue, that means it's a big government approach. But Ron DeSantis, he is on the other side. He believes in limited government. He's a limited government conservative. And so naturally, I think that the policies that limited government conservatives believe in are policies that would enhance freedom, give people more power to make their own decisions, and to reduce the footprint of the government in the lives of people, to remove government from the lives of people, and to make sure that citizens get to make their own decisions about various things in their lives. So that's the difference between a big government liberal and limited government conservative in a nutshell. And so as we approach this debate, which is going to be taking place on Thursday of this week, what date would that be? That would be November the 30th of 2023. It's amazing. The year is already coming to an end. We're approaching December. This year went by really fast. This year went by so fast. Um, as a side note, I thought I'd just mention that. Anyway, next year is going to be very interesting because it will be an election year. The presidential election is coming up, November 2024. Anyway, so going back to what I was talking about, November the 30th, Governor Newsom, Governor Ron DeSantis will be debating each other, and many people will be watching, as I can guess. Now, what I wish to talk about in particular, because there are different issues that voters care about. Some people care about social issues, some people care about economic issues, some people care about more international relations and our involvement in global affairs, so on and so forth. People have their different priorities, different issues that they pay attention to. Now, I try to pay attention to issues broadly. I try to stay in touch with what's happening on the economic side, what's happening in the energy sector, what's happening in the transportation sector, what's happening in healthcare. Healthcare is something that I pay close attention to because that's my passion. I studied healthcare policy, and I'm a healthcare policy analyst by training. But something that I have been talking about quite a bit over the last several months is immigration. In fact, I've been talking about immigration for years now. If you go to my website, tausifanam.net, you will see that if you scroll back, if you check out my blog and you go back and look at things that I wrote years ago, I wrote about immigration issues. I wrote about border security. I wrote about the problem of visa overstay and many other things. So I have been paying attention to immigration issues a lot. And when I think about this debate that's coming up between Governor Gavin Newsom and Governor Ron DeSantis, something that pops up in my mind is immigration. That's what I'm thinking about. I want to hear these two governors talk about their views on immigration, legal immigration, and then the border crisis, the illegal immigration that's taking place. People are, since 2021, as I've mentioned before a number of times, since 2021, when President Joe Biden and his administration came to power, since then, 6 million, maybe more, 6 million people, foreign nationals, have crossed the southern border to enter the United States, and they are here as migrants. They are undocumented immigrants. And so we have a crisis that's going on. And I would love to hear these two governors talk about immigration and express their views on this issue. Now, it's not entirely unknown. We know, if you're paying attention, if you are an informed American citizen, if you pay attention to politics and policy, then you probably already know where Governor Newsom stands on immigration issues and what Governor Ron DeSantis's views are on immigration. We already know because if you're like me, you're paying attention. But when they are face to face on the debate stage, when they are debating each other and Sean Hannity is moderating, I want to hear these two governors talk about immigration. We have a border crisis. No one can deny that. No one can say that we don't have a crisis. We do. It's very, very clear that we have a crisis at the southern border. Even when you look at sanctuary cities like New York and Chicago, you can see that there's crises in those cities. New York City, the sanctuary city that promises sanctuary to undocumented immigrants, that city is running out of housing options. Okay, and I've talked about how migrants were taken to Floyd Bennett Field in New York, and they were taken there by bus because it's a site that's been chosen for shelter for migrants, and some migrants refused to be housed there. They got back on the bus and turned around. So that example itself will tell you the intensity of the problem in New York City. And I can go on and on and on. I'm not going to do it here because I have made many other videos talking about New York City and the border crisis there, so you can check all of those videos out on my YouTube channel. And I've talked about Chicago, how millions and millions and millions, tens of millions of dollars are being spent, and these are taxpayer dollars, money being spent on migrants, and American taxpayers are very, very unhappy when they see their tax dollars going towards migrant housing and food and shelter and other things, medical services. So where was I going? What was I going to say? So yeah, when you look at all of these things, it's very, very clear that there is a crisis that we are facing as a country. And I want to hear Gavin Newsom talk about his solution. Remember, Gavin Newsom is the governor of a sanctuary state, okay? Talk about New York and Chicago, these are sanctuary cities, right? And California, the state, the entire state itself is a sanctuary state. And now that we have this massive border crisis that everyone's talking about, I want to hear Gavin Newsom talk about what he's going to do to fix this. I mean, he's a big government liberal. I disagree with many of his views. I'm a strong conservative, okay? I'm a reasonable individual. I appreciate dialogue. I enjoy my freedom of speech to express my opinions, and I also want to hear from others what they think. So I'm always happy to engage in debate, to discuss issues, and as if you've been watching my videos, then you already know that I always tell my viewers to share their views and opinions with me, whether they disagree with me, whether they agree with me. I believe in dialogue. I believe in exchange of ideas. And so, I'm a conservative, but if you're a liberal and you want to express your views, you want to challenge my ideas and my policies, feel free to do that. I'm happy to hear what you have to say, and I'm happy to express what I have to say. And so, while I disagree with Gavin Newsom probably on many issues, I still want to hear what he has to say about this border crisis and what should be done. Now, I know where Governor Ron DeSantis stands. He believes in border security like many Republicans do. If you want to talk about President Donald Trump, his administration worked really hard to secure the border and to reduce this problem of illegal immigration. And his administration was greatly successful. But then everything changed when President Joe Biden came to office, because his administration has a totally different approach, and the border was just open. There was no border security, and the crisis still continues. People are pouring into the country. So I know that Governor Ron DeSantis has a position that favors securing the border. I mean, I'm sure if he became the president, he would secure the border. At least that's what he has expressed. Governor Gavin Newsom, on the other hand, being the governor of a sanctuary state, I want to hear what he has to say. I mean, does he think it's okay for millions of foreign nationals to cross the US-Mexico border and just walk into our country and expect housing and food and shelter at taxpayers' expense? I want to hear him talk about that, okay? And so, um, I'm not going to speculate. I'm not going to make predictions about what's going to be discussed. But I'm pretty sure the topic of immigration will come up. And, I'll just say this. I strongly support border security. I strongly support legal immigration. And I think the government must take strong steps, strong measures to stop illegal immigration. To stop illegal immigration. This cannot go on. Foreign nationals simply crossing the border and coming into our country, this is unsustainable. As I've said a number of times previously, American citizens are struggling because of economic uncertainty, because of inflation. And so as American citizens, we cannot afford to see our tax dollars being spent on housing, food, and medical services and other services for the undocumented immigrants. We have to prioritize American citizens. There are many homeless American citizens who need help. And talk about California, the state that Governor Newsom represents. There is massive homelessness problem in California. In a beautiful place like San Francisco, once upon a time, it was a beautiful place, and now it is full of problems, and homelessness is one of many problems affecting San Francisco. And so what has Governor Newsom done to fix that? And why is he still not removing the sanctuary state designation? California, as I've said in cases of New York and Chicago, that politicians, the liberal leaders should come out and say, we're no longer going to be a sanctuary city. I think the liberal politicians in California should do the same thing. They should just come out and say, hey, California is no longer going to be a sanctuary state because being a sanctuary state is not sustainable. But liberals are not doing that. So I want to hear Newsom talk about immigration, and I'm looking forward to this debate, and we'll see what happens. Okay. Thank you for continuing to watch my videos. I appreciate that very much. Please visit my website, tausifanam.net, and if you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel yet, please do so. My conservative friends, as well as people watching who are liberals, who oppose my views, I want to hear from all of you. Okay, share with me your thoughts, whether you disagree with me or you agree with me. Get in touch with me, send me a message. You can also find me on social media. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Thanks once again. November 30th, that's when the debate is. I'll be watching. Hopefully you will too. Thank you. Bye-bye.